Hello friends, it's me, and today let's explore the science of the game Overwatch 2. Let's go.
Dear Blizzard.
Hi Blizzard.
Why? Why do you do this to me? What have I ever done to you?
What?
Besides that, look, seriously, did you consider me at all? Did you consider that I might die from dehydration because
Probably not. I'm sorry.
Because look at this. Just look at her. Hi, hello, it is me, Austin.
Hi, hello. Hi Austin. Hi.
Stable and normal and unthirsty guy. And yeah, I'm in love with Junker Queen, but I mean, who isn't? She's, not even what this video is about. I just, I need her to know how I feel about her. So, yeah, no. This video is about an Overwatch character that's OG and dates all the way back to vanilla 2016 Overwatch. Reinhardt.
Oh, come on.
Reinhardt.
That was misleading.
Now, as much as I would love to do a video on Anna Hart and whether or not Reinhardt is Pharah's father, this is not what this video is about. No, we're going to be doing a classic Austin Ruins Overwatch video today, looking at...
Please don't ruin it. I'm sorry, please don't.
One of the most classic moves in the game by Reinhardt and declaring, stop! It's hammer time!
Hey!
Alright, so to make it more clear, we're looking at Reinhardt's hammer down ability, where he can knock down people 20 meters away just by slamming his hammer into the ground. And yeah, baby, we are in business. So, is this possible? Could you slam a hammer into the ground and knock someone down 60 feet away? No! No, you could not. We done now? We good? Awesome. Ramp it up, everybody. We're done. It's impossible. We did it!
Wait, the video ending? Sincerely, Austin, that part? No, it's only 1 minute plus mark, come on.
I'm just kidding. If I weren't a coward, I would end a video that way someday, but I am quite the coward. Okay, so yeah, you couldn't do it, but you're not a 7-foot-tall dude decked out in power armor wielding a hammer that has a frickin' rocket jet on the end of it, and at least I don't think you are. And if you are, hey, Dad.
Bad Austin, don't make me get the split bottle.
Wow, I can't believe Tanya would not let me turn this into the Austin is thirsty for Overwatch character show. Rudeness beyond belief. Anyway, well that's weird. Google Docs doesn't think anyway is a misspelled word when it's all in caps. Huh, weird. Anyway, so this is an easy solution to find, right? Just figure out how much energy it takes to knock someone over, then bippity-boppity put those numbers into a hammer and bammo-whammo, you have your result, right?
That's not how mathematics work. Come on. It doesn't just like bippity boppity boom.
Right? Well, no, that is not right, but we will get there. First of all, we do need to figure out a way to effectively estimate how much energy is being imparted by this hammer, which is trickier than it sounds. Overwatch is one of my favorite games to do videos on because it has all these useful meter markers and a crap ton of environmental assets that can be played with. This includes these weights in the weight room, which do not react to my hammer at all.
Yep, that's unfortunate.
Crap, there goes the easy solution.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
What next? Okay, so there's icicles, and so that's no help because we have no idea what density they froze at. There's futuristic monitors, futuristic oil cans, futuristic pipe wrenches, and pipe wrenches, babe!
Wait a minute. Are you seriously telling me that your entire video is using pipe wrenches as a key factor for science thingy? Seriously? I mean, sure.
Baby, yes, I have done it again! Nothing can stop me! I am a god! Okay, you know what? I need to chill out and maybe cut back on the coffee. Hello, hi, this is a pipe wrench. It is used to tighten
Hi.
pipes. This one here is enormous, but it is not unrealistically enormous. Using the little meter thingies as a ruler, I determined that this wrench is 37-ish inches long, which, guess what? We make wrenches that are that big. They're actually 36-inch wrenches, but that's close enough for me. So, with this, if we can figure out how much energy is imparted into this wrench, I promise you that we can work our way backwards into figuring out precisely how impossible, or surprisingly possible, Reinhardt's hammer down move is. This was trickier than it seemed like it would be, however, since I had trouble getting the wrench to respond consistently, but eventually, with enough work, I was able to get the wrench to fly over Reinhardt's head, which gives us an upper limit for how much raw power this hammer is capable of. Now, the 36-inch Milwaukee, which is probably the closest analog we have in real life to this wrench, comes in at a whopping 19 pounds or 8.6 kilograms. Now,
I'm thankful that you included both LBS and kg in your video. Thank you so much. Really grateful that you are caring for your audience all around the world. Singapore, we uses kg.
There are a few ways we can turn this into energy, but my favorite is to figure out the potential energy the wrench has at a full stop in the air at peak height. It is a little inaccurate, but it should be within the margins we have that'll give us a good answer. Potential energy is measured by taking the mass of an object in question and multiplying it by the height it reaches, and multiplying that by the surface gravity. Easy peasy. Now, Reinhardt is 7 foot 4 inches or 2.2 meters tall, so that is our height. The mass we already have, it's 8.6 kilograms, and for gravity, we will just go back to my old video and we will figure out, Wow! In no video I've done on Overwatch have I ever measured the gravity in the game. I just assumed it was 9.8 meters per second, which is not right by a damn sight. Doing my favorite measurement method of falling and calculating the fall distance at consistent time intervals, I have determined that the surface gravity of Overwatch's Earth to actually be 19.05 meters per second. Almost double the 9.8 I assumed it to be in the past. Ludicrous! Unprofessional behavior from past Austin. I am appalled. Alright, given all that information...
Alright, 19.05 meter per second square. That's a lot. Note that Earth gravity is only 9.81 meter per second square. Literally double. Okay, close to double. It's like, wow.
We can stick those numbers next to each other and get an answer for how much energy this thing is carrying. And 367.0564777 joules of potential energy. Which doesn't sound like a lot because it is not. But if you consider that this is the amount of energy just being imparted into this thing and that it's hitting an entire area with this amount of energy, things are gonna get crazy really quickly, let me tell you. But before we go any further, let me explain the situation we're in right now because it bears explaining, because you may be tempted to just think, oh, well, all we gotta do next is act like the wrench is on one end of a seesaw and the hammer's on the other and then go blam, but no, that's not actually what's happening. What's actually happening is Reinhardt is slamming his hammer into the ground and sending a wave through the ground to impart energy into whatever it passes under, because barring a bomb or a meteor going off, that's how energy is transferred via the ground. Waves, that's all an earthquake is. Waves. Waves transfer energy by molecules bumping into each other. I just go boop to the first one, and then that bumps into another one, which bumps into another one, and down the line we go. It's like...
Yeah, something like a Newton's cradle.
Those Newton's cradle things, which, you know what, how do I not own one of those by now? Like, it's been, I've been making videos for years. Okay, I'm just buying one. Take my money, Bezos, and so now I own a Newton's cradle. That's neat. I don't actually know if it was necessary, but there you go. Capitalism wins again. Anyway, force is transferred through the ground by waves. There's a whole field of study dedicated to this called seismology. And it involves all sorts of complicated stuff like P waves and S waves, which I did try to read about to understand this topic, but it was a little over my head. Still, waves are generally easy to get your head around. Things bump into other things, and you get a force. And we know it's waves that are transferring force because, like I mean, slow down the footage. You can literally see the wave from hammer down traveling forward. In fact, using Reinhardt's known size and these boxes here, we can determine that the peak height of this wave is 111 centimeters. And pay attention, children, that's going to be important later on. The main deal with waves is that the way they transfer force is a little bit different than the simple leverage that you might expect with a seesaw. That's because waves do not impart force entirely directly, rather more indirectly. So forces that might otherwise be trivial need to suddenly be astronomical in order to impart the same forces if you were doing it directly. This means that the forces that are needed to launch a wrench into the air from a strike that's from a hammer might suddenly need to be dramatically higher than they would be if you were using like a lever or hitting things directly, because they're working by sending a pressure wave through another medium entirely in order to do their work.
And the medium might have different level of resistance.
Makes sense? A good way to think about it is that it's like flipping a coin. You can flip a coin easily with your thumb, almost like effortlessly, but if you put a coin down on the table, good luck getting that sucker to flip up in the air just by slamming your thumb down on the table. I tried really hard with this silver dollar on my kitchen counter, and I could not get it to budge even a tiny little bit. And that's just if the forces are being applied right next to something. If you're talking about hitting something that's 20 meters away, you're going to be having to deal with something called attenuation, which is a thing that waves do as they move away from a source. Basically,
oh, interesting, attenuations. But Austin, that's a saying, it's a silly saying, but that's a saying. If force is, okay, if you're, sorry. You're not, okay, if the force that you're using is not solving a problem, you are not using enough force. It's a joke.
it means as waves propagate, they spread out and get weaker. This is why sunlight is about 650% weaker here on Earth than it is on Mercury. Sunlight, as it leaves the source, spreads out, and it gets weaker as a result. And it's not just from spreading out, though, either. It's also from bumping into other molecules, which will keep some of that energy for themselves in the form of heat or even kinetic energy sent in the other direction. There's no such thing as perfect energy transfer. And this is before we even talk about my favorite part, surface area, because some of you may have realized that we're not talking about simply launching a single wrench into the air 7 feet. No, we're talking about how we can put a wrench anywhere in this triangle space before Reinhardt and see it launched into the air on high. Oh. That means that the force being delivered by the hammer doesn't just transfer to a tiny space, it's transferring to this whole space, measuring 100 square meters using this formula for the area of an isosceles triangle, and it could be filled with 631 wrenches all in their current size, and they'd all be thrown at least 7 feet in the air, meaning instead we're looking for 231,692 joules of potential energy, not 300 and some change. Big scary difference. So how do we even go about approaching something like this? Well, there is one way. String waves. We need to do this stuff by unit length because that's the most important factor for string waves, which uses mass per unit length. So that's what we're going to be doing everything by from here on out. Now, what we're going to do is determine how much power is in this pressure wave sent out by Reinhardt, and to do that, we're going to use this formula. 1/2 times mass per unit length times angular frequency times amplitude. Now, we have a bunch of this stuff already, but first I want to go over properties of a wave so you can understand what we're talking about even a little better. Waves have a wavelength, the physical distance it takes for a wave to complete a full cycle. It has its velocity, its speed forward, the amplitude, the total displacement up and down, and the frequency, how many times per second a wave cycle is completed, and that's measured in hertz. Now, it's mostly the velocity and the amplitude that are doing the knocking of things up in the air. Then, neatly enough, we actually figured out our amplitude earlier with that 111 centimeters. Of course, that's literally only half the picture, since amplitude is measured from peak to peak, so our amplitude is actually 222 centimeters. The rest of the stuff we can measure in-game, giving us a frequency of 30 hertz and a velocity of 33 meters per second. The last thing we need now is a mass per unit length, which I got by taking the area of our triangle here, base times height, or 10 times 20, divided by 2, and then averaging that into a square. Then I took the length of the wave inward, 111 centimeters, and turned that into a volume, then multiplied that by the density of the soil, 1,300 kilograms per meter cubed. Woo! That gets us a total mass of Earth that'll be moved by this hammer, though obviously with different materials the whole thing could change. Then we divide that by 10.53, the length of one side of this thing if it were a square instead of a triangle, and finally we get our mass per unit length of 13,698.46 kilograms per meter. Woo!
Yes, it's a good approximation, a good average out, but wow, that's a lot of numbers.
Got him! With an angular frequency of 188.5, this means finally all we have to do is hit enter and we can discover that Reinhardt's hammer is imparting 39,975,758,210 watts of power into the Earth and delivering over 512,515,671.16 joules of energy into the ground. If you account for a 20% energy efficiency, which is actually pretty high all things considered, this thing would be like a massive bomb going off.
And it's just from one single swing. Can you imagine he swing it like 10 times, 20 times, 100 times? Wow!
What's worse, or maybe better if you're a fan of horrifying exploding ears, is that making a wave this powerful in the Earth, Reinhardt is basically turning the ground into one giant speaker that would be displacing 2.2 meters of air in a fraction of a second. With a delta P max of 174,342, this would produce one of the loudest sounds ever recorded at 172.87 decibels. Eardrums and windows within 3 blocks would all be bursting due to the sound. It is absolutely crazy. This thing would be like a major bomb going off every single time he does his ultimate. Absolutely insane.
Absolutely insane. Every single time.
And that's not to mention that each strike is like the space shuttle taking a nosedive straight into the ground when we're talking about energy delivery. This thing is massively unrealistic. Though I do think it might be possible. There is a rocket on the end of the hammer after all, and he might even be able to do it without breaking every bone in his arms. You see, we all know that for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, right? Well, this means that forces of the strike
Newton's law. Thank you, Newton. Thank you.
would be traveling back up and through the head of the hammer, going down the shafts, and then directly into Reinhardt's body, right? Well, not necessarily. You see, the forces delivered backwards are also a wave traveling through a solid object. The cool thing is, if you hold an object that's carrying a wave through it in just the right spot, exactly right here where the wave amplitude is 0, you'll experience a net 0 force on your body. You can actually play with this a bit yourself if you have a baseball bat. You can just like tap it or even hit it against the ground really hard and it will hurt your hand. But if you move your hand up or down on the grip, you can find a sweet spot where you will feel absolutely nothing. The same thing applies here with the hammer down. So, yeah. If Reinhardt could actually hit something this hard, which is debatable, even for a daddy like him, he would actually be able to do it without shattering every bone in his body. And that is amazing. It's still freaking stupid though. I hate it when he charges me to death. I'm a support player. Please leave me alone, you rude, giant, sexy man. Sincerely, Austin.
Sincerely, Austin.
Thank you everyone for watching that video
so
that I made on Reinhardt's hammer down ability. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I would not have been able to make it without support from my patrons at patreon.com, and especially these people that I have to give a personal shout out to: Justin Bush, Dr. Vem, MadLad616, Miss Kendra, Ronald Coleman, Edadam TP, Arte Fox, Marissa Resnick, Nick Patterson, and Loretta Mazurf. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. I just like it that Austin's make this the science episodes about Overwatch 2, about this so many numbers, and I just love it. Moreover, he used a key factor of the wrench as an anchor point for this entire equation. It's like, wow, I didn't know that. That's actually quite impressive. Well, the more you know, I guess. Thank you so much. I hope you find this video quite interesting to watch and quite educational to watch. Quite entertaining. Entertainment for the win. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any of us. Don't forget, sorry. But hey, that's just the signs off. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Oh wait a minute, he used the wrench as a key factor, right? But what if the wrench is not the same material as the one that is on planet Earth? I mean, it's a fictional world, it's a gaming world, there's creative, there's imaginary factors. What if it's not made of, what if there's no iron, there's no steel? What if the material is made of vibranium?